I got along well with Starmer. I disagreed with Starmer. I said, you have two problems, immigration and energy, and crime too, by the way. And I told this guy 15 times, and he wouldn't do it. I said, you're going to lose your prime ministership. And he did. In fact, I called it about 3 days early, right? Remember I said he was leaving? I wonder if that nudged him out.
Did Trump really predict Starmer's exit? The US president now claims he called it before the political shakeup unfolded. Trump says his warning came just days before the UK leader's departure, raising questions over whether he saw the crisis coming. I wonder if that nudged him out. Trump appears to suggest his comments may have played a role, as he takes credit for Starmer's dramatic exit. Trump points to immigration and energy policies as key reasons behind Britain's growing political crisis and leadership turmoil. With Andy Burnham emerging as a possible new figure in the spotlight, the big question is whether his extremely liberal views can align with Trump's agenda.
Would you want to be the first person on his list to visit globally?
No, but I think we're probably of a different persuasion. He's very liberal. But, I got along well with Starmer. I disagreed with Starmer. I said, you have two problems, immigration and energy. And crime, too, by the way. Crime. You have a terrible mayor of London, by the way. I don't want to cause any problems, but your mayor of London is grossly incompetent, a bad person, and a horrible representative for your country. You know that. That's why you're smiling and laughing, and it's true. But you know that. The mayor of London is a horror show. But you have a crime problem. You have an immigration problem. The immigration helps cause the crime, by the way. And you have a tremendous energy problem. You're building stupid windmills all over the country, and they don't do the job. You have the greatest oil field in the world, one of them. It's called the North Sea oil. All you have to do is bid it out to Exxon, Chevron, Shell, British Petroleum. They're begging to go there and pay billions of dollars. And because the left is so crazy, they don't want the money. And the country is losing, your country is going to go bankrupt. Think of it, you have one of these, now most countries don't have that. You have the North Sea oil, and you have the best part of it. Think of it, you go to Norway, who doesn't have the best part of it, and you give them, and they have $2 trillion in the bank. They have $2 trillion, maybe more. Because the UK pays them all this money, and others. But you have one of the greatest fields, and I told this guy 15 times, and he wouldn't do it. I said, you're going to lose your prime ministership. And he did. In fact, I called it about 3 days early, right? Remember I said he was leaving? I wonder if that nudged him out.
You mentioned that our prime minister has got one foot out the door. The new guy's coming in, Andy Burnham. What do you know about him, Mr. President? And what does he need to do to improve the relationship between our two countries? The new incoming Prime Minister, Andy Burnham.
I don't know anything. I see that he was, the mayor of a town. I hear he's extremely liberal. Extremely. So that means he probably won't open up the North Sea. I gave Keir Starmer some pretty good advice. I said, open up the North Sea. Go to Aberdeen, which was the hottest city in the whole continent. It was the oil city. It was the oil of Europe. And they closed everything. It was terrible. I saw it before my eyes, and I couldn't believe it. The North Sea is loaded. I have had every oil company come to see me. Sir, could you give us access to the UK? We would do anything to drill in the North Sea. And they haven't even found what's there. The amazing thing is they buy their oil from Norway, which gets the oil from the North Sea. Think of it. And they pay a big premium. Norway's got now $2 trillion in the bank, and UK is dying. So they should open up the North Sea. It's an easy one. And a lot of good things are going to happen. It's among the greatest fields in the world. Peter?
As Keir Starmer steps down as Prime Minister, attention swings sharply to Labour's succession battle, with the party's internal contest now doubling as Britain's next PM race. On June 22nd, Keir Starmer resigned as UK Prime Minister, formally setting Labour's succession process in motion and triggering the timetable to choose his replacement. The outgoing leader has signalled that a new Prime Minister could be in place by September, promising an orderly handover before Parliament fully returns from its summer break.
The question being asked now is not who was best placed to change the Labour Party, to take us into power and to begin the vital work of improving lives for millions of people. Those questions have been answered. The question my party is asking now is whether I am best placed to lead us into the next general election. I have heard the answer of my parliamentary party to that question, and I accept that answer with good grace. Every decision I've taken has been about putting the country I love first. That is why I will resign as leader of the Labour Party. I have spoken to His Majesty the King this morning to inform him of my decision. I will ask the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party to set out a timetable with nominations opening on the 9th of July and completed by the summer recess. In the case of a contest, this will ensure a new leader is in place before Parliament returns in September. I will remain in post as Prime Minister until the contest is complete, and I will do everything I can to ensure an orderly handover of power. I will also give my successor my full and unequivocal support, knowing that they will inherit a Britain that is far stronger and fairer than the one I inherited 2 years ago, better prepared for the challenges ahead, and better able to ensure the Labour Party secures a second term in office. I want to thank all of those friends and colleagues who have been at my side for these past 6 years or so, for their incredible commitment, service and support. I want to thank the brilliant Number 10 staff and our country's extraordinary civil service who dedicate their lives to public service. And when I leave the biggest job in the country, I shall spend more time on the most important job, being the best husband I can to my fantastic wife Vic, who has been a rock by my side through good times and bad, and being the best dad I can to my beautiful children, who are my pride and my joy. Thank you very much.
If no challenger comes forward against him, Andy Burnham could be sworn in as Prime Minister around July 17th, slipping into office while the Commons is in its summer recess. If there is a full contest, voting would run through the summer months, with a new Prime Minister expected to take office by late August once members have had their say. Starmer argues this schedule will ensure a clear successor is in post before the Commons returns on September 1st, avoiding a leadership vacuum when MPs come back. Strikingly, whoever wins Labour's leadership will become Britain's 7th Prime Minister in 10 years, underlining just how volatile the country's politics have become. Let's take a closer look at the two main contenders now poised to become the UK's next Prime Minister, and what each would mean for Labour and the country. Andy Burnham, the former Manchester Mayor and newly elected MP for Makerfield, brings both regional clout and fresh Commons credentials into the race. He has formally confirmed his bid to replace Keir Starmer, making clear he wants to move from the backbench straight into the top job. Burnham is widely seen as the frontrunner in the race, with early backing suggesting he could secure a commanding lead among Labour MPs. His emerging campaign message centres on economic growth and political stability, promising calm leadership after years of churn at the top. Burnham enjoys strong popularity among Labour members and many MPs, who see him as a unifying figure able to bridge party factions. Supporters also argue he can cut into Reform UK's appeal, presenting him as someone who speaks to disillusioned voters beyond Labour's core base. He previously held cabinet roles under past Labour governments, giving him frontline experience of national decision-making and Whitehall machinery. If no serious rival emerges, Burnham could walk into number 10 by mid-July, turning his leadership bid into one of the fastest ascents in recent history. Wes Streeting, a former health secretary and senior Labour figure, brings cabinet-level experience and a sharp public profile into any leadership conversation. He is known as a centrist modernizer, often pitching himself as a bridge between Labour's traditional base and voters worried about economic credibility. Streeting had previously prepared to challenge Starmer himself, signaling long-standing leadership ambitions and a willingness to run at the very top. Reports suggest he had secured enough MP nominations to mount a serious campaign, proving significant support across Labour's parliamentary ranks. He presented himself as fiscally cautious and tough on spending promises, aiming to reassure markets and swing voters about Labour's economic plans. Streeting has been widely viewed as Burnham's strongest potential rival, the one candidate who could have forced a full-blown leadership contest. Yet he later decided to endorse Burnham instead of running, a move that reshaped the race and signaled a push for unity over open competition. His backing has boosted hopes of avoiding a bruising contest, making it more likely that Labour can manage a swift, uncontested transition in power. Other senior Labour politicians may still weigh late bids if the rules allow and the numbers stack up, keeping a small window open for surprise challengers. Crucially, any would-be leader must first secure public backing from at least 20% of Labour MPs in the Commons to even make the ballot. Candidates then need extra nominations from local party branches or affiliated unions, a test of both grassroots reach and organizational strength. If more than one contender qualifies, Labour members and affiliates rank them by preference in a ballot, turning the race into a full party-wide vote. Votes are redistributed until one candidate passes 50%, and that winner is then presented to the King as the next Prime Minister.